October 15, 2025. The West Philippine Sea is calm, but tension simmers beneath the surface. A Philippine resupply mission to the BRP Sierra Madre at Ayungin Shoal is underway. Routine, yet fraught with danger. The Philippine supply boat, escorted by the Coast Guard, sails into contested waters, fully aware of the risks. Suddenly, the horizon is crowded with China Coast Guard and maritime militia vessels, moving to block the mission. The Chinese ships close in, horns blaring, their intent unmistakable. Intimidation and obstruction. A Chinese Coast Guard vessel, 5201, accelerates and rams the Unaiza May 4, the Philippine supply boat. Metal grinds against metal, a deliberate collision, not an accident. The BRP Cabra, a Philippine Coast Guard escort, bravely intervenes, shielding the supply boat. The world watches, shocked, as footage of the impact spreads online. The images reveal the stark imbalance: massive Chinese ships versus smaller Filipino vessels. This is not a misunderstanding, it's a calculated show of force. For the Filipino crew, it's a test of resolve and duty. The collision is more than a maritime incident. It's a flashpoint in the struggle for sovereignty. The nation holds its breath, waiting for what comes next. The stakes are clear: the right to defend territory, the courage to stand firm. The drama at Ayungin Shoal is a microcosm of a much larger conflict. The world is watching, and so is every Filipino. The question now: how far will each side go? The radio crackles with tension as the standoff escalates. China Coast Guard 5201, this is BRP Cabra. You are interfering with a legitimate Philippine operation within our exclusive economic zone. Maintain distance. The Filipino captain's voice is steady, asserting rights under international law. The Chinese reply is cold and scripted. This is China Coast Guard. You are in Chinese waters. Leave immediately. The message ignores the Philippine claim, repeating Beijing's narrative. For the Filipino crew, it's surreal, being called intruders in their own backyard. The standoff is more than words. Chinese crews ready water cannons, aiming at the Philippine supply boat. The threat is real. Water cannons can shatter glass, injure crew, and disable ships. Filipino sailors stand their ground, cameras rolling, documenting every move. A Filipino sailor raises the national flag, a silent, powerful act of defiance. The crews shout across the water, tension at a breaking point. This is not just geopolitics, it's personal courage in the face of overwhelming force. The radio calls, the warnings, the flag, all part of a nation's refusal to be bullied. The world hears the voices of those on the front lines. The standoff is a battle of wills, broadcast for all to witness. The message: the Philippines will not yield. Ayungin Shoal is a modern David versus Goliath. China, with its massive navy and coast guard, brings overwhelming force, ships, technology, and numbers. Their maritime militia swarms, intimidating and outnumbering any challenger. The Philippines, by contrast, sends modest civilian boats and small Coast Guard cutters. Outgunned and outnumbered, Filipino crews rely on courage and principle. Their mission: defend what is rightfully theirs, not to conquer, but to sustain. Cameras become their weapons, documenting every violation for the world to see. Despite ramming and harassment, they persist, repairing boats, treating wounds, and returning to duty. Their resilience is a strategic asset, showing China and the world that the Philippines will not be cowed. The message is clear: we are here, this is ours, we will not leave. In this struggle, resolve matters as much as firepower. The courage of a few stands against the might of many. Ayungin Shoal, second Thomas Shoal internationally, is a submerged reef within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone. Its symbol, the BRP Sierra Madre, a rusted WWE-era ship grounded in 1999 as a permanent outpost. The ship, battered but defiant, is a living assertion of Philippine sovereignty. Marines stationed aboard endure isolation and hardship surrounded by Chinese vessels. Their presence is a daily act of resistance, a frontline defense of national territory. The Sierra Madre prevents China from seizing the shoal outright. Resupply missions are lifelines, sustaining both the crew and the country's legal claim. Every successful mission is a victory. Every blockade is an act of aggression. The fate of this rusty ship is tied to the fate of the rule of law in the region. It's more than a vessel, it's a symbol of unyielding resolve. The stand at Ayungin is a stand for sovereignty. After the collision, Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro Jr. responds with fury. He condemns China's actions as deceptive and absurd, calling out Beijing's propaganda. Teodoro insists the Philippine mission was routine, legal, and transparent. well within the country's rights. He invokes the 2016 Arbitral Award, which invalidated China's sweeping claims. "It is our constitutional duty to defend our territory," he declares. Teodoro frames the conflict as a battle for truth, not just territory. His words rally the nation and signal resolve to the world. "We will not back down," he vows, promising continued resupply missions. The defense chief's anger reflects a nation's pride and determination. The message: the Philippines stands firm, grounded in law and principle. The October 15th collision is part of a broader campaign, China's gray zone warfare. China uses its Coast Guard and maritime militia to harass and intimidate, staying just below open conflict. Philippine patrols face swarms of Chinese ships, often outnumbered 10-1. Tactics escalate from shadowing to ramming, water cannons, and dangerous maneuvers. Chinese ships use their size as a weapon, violating maritime safety rules. Beyond physical aggression, China employs lasers and electronic jamming to disrupt Philippine operations. The goal: make resupply missions nearly impossible, wear down resistance. This pattern repeats across the West Philippine Sea, targeting fishermen and outposts alike. China aims to establish de facto control, normalizing its illegal claims. Each act is a calculated move in a long-term strategy for dominance. The struggle at Ayungin Shoal has a human cost. Filipino sailors and Marines face real danger, injuries from water cannon attacks, collisions, and even direct violence. In March 2025, a water cannon shattered the UNISA May 4's windshield, injuring crew. The psychological toll is immense. Constant threats, long separations from family, and the risk of escalation. One sailor lost a thumb during a violent encounter, his sacrifice a symbol of resilience. These are not faceless pawns, but fathers, sons, and husbands defending their nation. Their wounds, visible and invisible, are the price of defending freedom and law. The government hails them as heroes, their bravery strengthening national resolve. The flag on the Sierra Madre flies because of their sacrifice. Their courage is the human face of the Philippines stand. The Philippines is not alone. The US, Australia, and Japan condemn China's actions and increase joint patrols, signaling support for Manila. The Mutual Defense Treaty is reaffirmed. An attack on Philippine forces triggers allied response. International partners provide training, equipment, and diplomatic backing. G7 and EU nations issue statements, isolating China and framing the dispute as a global issue. Japan, India, and South Korea join the chorus, emphasizing freedom of navigation. The world recognizes the Philippines' courage and stands with it. The conflict is no longer just regional. It's about upholding the rules-based order. International support transforms the struggle into a multilateral defense of shared principles. The message: aggression will not go unchallenged. Ayungin Shoal is more than a disputed reef. It's the front line in a global struggle for law and truth. China seeks to rewrite maritime rules through force. The Philippines stands for the principle that right, not might, should prevail. Disinformation is part of the battle, but Manila counters with transparency, releasing footage and evidence to expose the truth. The government's unified response, from the president to the Coast Guard, signals unwavering resolve. The fight is for national dignity, the right to exist without bullying, and the protection of territory defined by law. Filipino sailors and Marines, leaders, and international allies all contribute to this stand. Ayungin Shoal is a line in the sand, a place where a nation chooses to defend its rights. The courage shown here echoes far beyond the South China Sea. The world is watching, and the Philippines is not backing down. This is a fight for sovereignty, for truth, and for the future of the rules-based order.